All right, everyone. Here is another episode of Dude, Where's My Flashlight? Today we have Andreas Henning with us from Sweden. How are you today, Andreas?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing so great. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I've been admiring your artwork for a long time. I definitely want to get into your creative process, learn more about you. This is what the podcast is about. So thank you for being here. Thanks for taking the time out. I wanted to first talk to you about the flowers, because that's where the first image I saw of yours that just really stopped me in my tracks was one of the flowers actually out of nature. And being somebody that loves nature myself, do you spend time in nature and then think of these visions and then paint them? Like, tell me your creative process in nature.
Well, the process is I look for pictures online, mostly flowers and plants. And I try to recreate them, by a sketch. And then I think to myself, is it possible to do it in light painting? And from there on it is. I'd say 50% of the time it's possible, but the other 50, it's not.
Yeah, and I noticed you're one of the first actually light drawers, specifically light drawers with a fine tip pencil or a pen that I've actually had on the show. And it's been a huge inspiration to me to actually see the challenge of actually doing spatial recognition and exactly where to be and exactly where that leaf should be and the flower petals. Can you explain, when you're looking at the camera and you're ready to go, where you start, what you use? Can you build me a flower from the beginning? Do you go top down?
Yeah, when I do those, I've done a couple of those with 2 or 3 flowers.
Yeah,
I do the flowers first.
Okay.
And then I have my body as a preference. So always I do the first flower in the chest.
Okay.
And the second flower in the belly, and the third, down below.
Yes, magical. Nice.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm doing the leaves, so to say. And lastly, I do sometimes the stars, the starbursts.
Nice.
Yeah.
And are you using the same tool for all of the leaves as well as the starburst? Are you changing out tools during the shot? Because you have a blade for the petals.
Yeah.
And then you switch out to a pencil?
No, sometimes I have a, what do you call it, the fiber optic wire.
Ah, yes.
To do the leaves, and sometimes I have a blade to do the leaves. Yeah.
The petals.
But the starburst, it's the most of the time it's like a small keychain.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
And do you have a manual aperture that you actually close down the aperture, go up to like f/18 so you can get that flare in the camera? Do you have a star lens RD filter in the camera?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually used one. I saw one in Paris, and they were like, "Oh, just add a couple stars with a 6-star lens, 6-star lens filter." And so I've been using that primarily because that way I don't have to manually adjust my aperture to make sure it doesn't blow out the shot. Which, if you see my art, sometimes I forget.
But I make sure I use a flashlight that's not too bright.
Yeah.
So I know it doesn't blow out, but sometimes it does.
Yeah. No, that's the perils of the light painting, as well as I've noticed a lot of your artwork is done at dusk, which is great, the golden hour, blue hour. And so it's hard to do longer exposures, which I feel are way more challenging because you have to hide yourself. You have to be aware of the ambient light, hitting you as a painter, not showing up in the shot. All those things come into play. Do you actually move around a little bit? Like, you count in your head? I sometimes count like, oh, I need to be 10 seconds here, and then I have to move because.
Yeah, I used to do it because before in the beginning I borrowed my girlfriend's camera, a Nikon, and I thought about this. But now recently I bought the Olympus camera, which has the live composite mode. So I don't have to worry about the blowing up and the the exposure.
Yeah, I've never used one. I've seen people use it before. I think it really, really helps, especially at the golden hour. A lot of ambient light hitting your shot. I
Yeah.
think it would be very useful in the city with a bunch of street lights and a bunch of, city lights. It would be very, very useful. I particularly like to shoot out in the wild, out in mountains and nature and forests. So I don't have a lot of that. But I'm definitely going to check it out for more of my city work.
Yeah, it definitely changed a lot for me because
Yeah.
With the time you don't have to worry about taking too long for the shot.
I always worry about it, and then you have to worry about burning hot pixels into your frame in post, because then you're like, oh, this took me 9 minutes to finish one painting, which people don't quite understand how photographs can take 9 minutes, but they do. They can.
Yeah.
For you, how do you address the fact that I'm only okay with 12 mushrooms and 3 flowers? Like, where does it stop for you? Like, how do you say this one is beautiful, I'm done here?
Well, I have an image in my head before, like the one I posted one a couple of days ago with 3 flowers. I have the image, so I know what to do. But yeah, sometimes I do more than I planned.
Yes. Yeah. No, I often find like I try to go as long as I can until I feel like all of it's good and perfect. And then I stop. And then I'm like, okay, cool. That's enough. Because I think innately we can feel as artists like I might be pushing it too much, and it's just good to just stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, less is more sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Do you ever get to paint with the Northern Lights up there? Do you ever see them, and how close are you?
No, I'm in the most south of Sweden, so I don't see them. Yeah.
As much. Yeah. But you've traveled to the beach for the fire orb or the blue orb levitating on the beach. That was cool.
Yeah, that one is cool. I'm proud of that.
Oh,
yeah, I live 10 minutes from the sea, so it's great.
Awesome. You get all the reflections. You get the full moon. Sometimes the clouds. Oh, it's just amazing. I love that one. And so, are you spinning a normal orb with a firework or a sparkler on the end, and that's how you're getting your fuzzy orbs?
Yeah.
And then I'm trying, because I love. First of all, I just love being here talking to you about this, because I admire your work so much, and it's just amazing. I'm just mind blown here that we actually have you on the show. But then, do you take a sparkler and make the flames go up from the top of the orb, so you're actually painting in the top flame?
Which one are you talking about?
Well, okay, so the blue orb and I think the fire orb was it Boskoken? I can't spell it. Anyway, I can't say it. Anyway, both of your orbs that were the blue orb and the fire orb, the more recent one, they both are levitation orbs, but they also have an awesome top of flame coming off the top of them.
Yeah, no, that's done with the fiber optic.
Okay, perfect. So you're adding both elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's dope.
Because there are a lot of orbs out there. So I wanted to try to make something different.
Well, and it's awesome that you say this, because I love the work you do, because I can immediately tell it's yours. And I think as an artist, including myself, I think as an artist, that is an accomplishment. That is a career, lifetime accomplishment, to say, look, when somebody sees a piece of art randomly, they immediately know it's yours, and you've done that. And so thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I'm inspired by you to actually draw more flowers. I draw some flowers you see in some of my older work. I've recently got into a bunch of tube stuff, but that can be its own little world, and I like my drawing world as well, and I often try to combine both of them like you do.
Because me, I started out with tubes as well, but I don't have any models, so I did it myself. And it was nice, but it's not the same without a model.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and blessed, my partner, she travels with me, so we get to do it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So bless her heart. That's a whole nother episode. It's just her. So you've got 2 little ones. Do you ever light paint with the kiddos? Do you ever get the brushes in their hands?
I did once. Yeah, and the older one, she's 12. She really liked it, but then the iPad called her.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about your work, and I've often wanted to do a children's book and illustrate it and narrate it. And you know, something as beautiful as your flowers with like something telling the story with a child in it. You know, something would be really magical there. I think I'm going to work on it, but definitely, you know, inspired by you and all the flowers. Tell me about the 360. I haven't painted with it, nor do I even have one to shoot with. Um,
Yeah, the 360 camera.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I bought this a year ago, and just for the reason to film skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found out that people took great photos with it, and then I tried it out, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun!" So that's really the first time I thought about photographing and stuff.
Yeah.
Up like that. But yeah, it's fun. You can do all crazy kind of stuff with it.
Were you first a photographer, then a light painter, or a light painter, then a photographer?
No, I was first a skater.
Skateboarder. Yeah.
But yeah, first photos and then light painting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. I love the 360 shot you did in the escalator. I'm not sure if it's in a mall or if it's in a building, but it's white and it is perfectly symmetrical. You're looking down the escalator.
Oh, it's in the subway. Yeah.
In the subway. Yeah. Can you tell me about that shot? Did you just like have your like how? It's amazing that like, do you have all your equipment with you? So then you can be like, oh, this is it. I'm inspired. Or do you have to go home and get it and bring it back? And then how do you deal with the people?
No, it was the shot. Yeah, I've seen the shot before by other people, like in the Stockholm subway and stuff. And I thought, well, it
Got something really good in there, right? You're something you're super proud of. On the way home, aren't you just smiling inside? You're just like, yeah, what's in my bag is gold, right? You're just like, no one knows what's in my bag right now, but I know what's in my bag right now.
the funny thing about 360 is you take a shot, and when you go home, then you look at all the angles
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff, so you can decide afterwards which angle you want. So that's the cool part about it.
Okay. I got to give you one of these little toys. Which one do you recommend? The 361?
Yeah, that's the one I had, the 361X.
The
Yeah.
1X. Okay. And how much is this going to cost me? In
I don't know now, but when I bought it, it was around $400.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. But you know what? There's something called gear acquisition syndrome where you just keep buying more stuff and you're next thing you know, you're checking 6 bags of luggage of gear and you're like, "No, I'm trying to be the artist that actually creates master composites with as little as possible." You know? I mean, that's why I love like the RGB flashlight, the remote, you can change the color. So now you've got 9 different colors you could add in one shot if they go together if you want to as an artist, blah 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 blah. All that stuff.
Did you check out the
Yeah, I love Rod. He was great to have on the show. He was a ball of fun. He's a great teacher. So yeah, big shout out to him.
Yeah, he does some awesome 360 light painting as well.
Yeah.
Well, he does a lot of stuff.
And you know what? And that's the beautiful thing. It's like when you look through your feed or when you look through Rod's feed or some of the other guests I've had on the show, you really get to see them as a complete artist. You know, they often like gravitate towards one style, if you say, but if you look through their feed, you can see that the creative flow is running strong through them because each different photo is significantly different than the rest, yet screams the artist. Does that make sense? Kind of like what we were talking about. Like, I can totally tell it's you when I see that show up. Yeah.
That's something I think about a lot too. I don't want to be making only flowers or only orbs. I want to make flowers, but also develop them and expand and
Yes. Expand.
that's something I'm thinking about a lot.
That could be the name of your next flower. Root and expand. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Hey, so give me, if you could actually give somebody getting into light painting, somebody kind of new. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of new people coming into the community. It's getting bigger and bigger by the day, which is great. What kind of advice would you give them, looking back now that you've done this for a bit?
Yeah, well, I started off like many, I think, watching Eric Paré and Kim Henry. And then I discovered Jason Page from Light Painting Brushes.
Yes.
I watched all of his tutorials.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah. So watching tutorials, yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, such a wide breadth of knowledge under the light painting brushes tutorials. I mean, they've got literally everything in there, as well as Eric does. Everything you need to know on tube spins, and just great people, right? Just great people, great artists, great humans, and sharing their story. It's something that I struggle with. That's why I'm kind of doing this podcast, is because I typically am not very outgoing. I don't really like to. I'm social, but I'm very introverted when it comes to artwork. And
I feel
it. Yeah. So this is a good way for us to, get out there and share a little bit about us instead of, hiding behind our cameras sometimes, or, so it's good. And I'm glad that they're actually maybe have grown past that, and now they're sharing their life, even personal stuff with us, which is quite amazing. So Kim and Jason, are there any other artists out there that are inspiring you right now? Are you looking at anyone's feed that you're like, wow, they're doing some awesome work?
Yes. Actually, the one that got me into making flowers and stuff was Hannu Hutamu.
Ah,
yeah,
a legend.
I just got blown away when I saw his stuff.
Me too. I've asked him to be on the show. I hope he responds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a big inspiration, and I just recently discovered I don't know his name, Rum Light Painting from France.
Okay, I think
Yeah, it does some strange things too with the trees and what do you call them, dandeliers?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
the chandeliers from above.
No, not the chandeliers, dandeliers. The flowers.
Oh, the dandelions.
Yeah. What you said.
Yes, but, I am familiar with his work.
Often I'm looking for artists that makes me wonder and want to know how they did it. That triggers me.
And then that's exactly how I got started in this, which is exactly how, when I was influenced the most by Chris Bauer, he's a light painter out where I'm from in Washington State.
Yeah.
I was blown away just by the abstractness and wondering, how did you make this in one single photograph? Because we often get, as light painters, are you photoshopping your things? Are you adding light? Are you subtracting light? Are you adding color? Which I am not. And I don't care if people do. I hope that they're transparent if they do. But like you, I want to know the why. I want to know the how, right? Because as an engineer kind of mind, you're thinking, how can I reverse engineer this and then make it my own, right? How can I accumulate all of this wonderful, weird knowledge and then make a recipe and then bake something else with it?
Yeah. That's a big drive in me that I want to find out. Like when I discovered Hannu, I didn't understand how he did it, and then I tried it home and I built some tools and I much trial and error, and then finally I managed to do the stuff he does with the leaves and stuff, and I was blown away, and then I was hooked.
Yeah. Do you remember the first tree you ever drew?
The first
tree. The first tree or the first flowers you ever drew? Do you remember like getting close and be like, oh, I'm almost there, and then like you nailed it? You're like, yes, I nailed it.
No, not actually, but I remember the first flower I did with the 360 cam.
Mm.
because you know, I just walked around the camera and waving some lights, and when I looked at the image, I was blown away.
Yes.
The first drawn flower, no, not at the top of my head.
No, that's okay. It's okay. So what DIY tools? I'm always interested in DIY stuff because I really want this art to be accessible to more people. And if you can build something out of a water bottle, which there's too many water bottles on the earth right now, so we should start light painting with all of them. Anyway, so what DIY tools did you make?
First, I started off making tubes from PVC pipes.
Yep.
I work as a plumber, so I know electricians. So I got the electrician pipe, which light up beautifully, and made a bunch of tubes with the gel.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've made some blades with plexiglass and fiber optic. I made as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, all my stuff is DIY except just recently I bought the light blade.
And how do you like the new set?
Yeah, I love it.
Yes. It's I'm often on the road and I don't really take my blades with me.
Yeah.
I find that outside they can sometimes get washed out a little bit. But indoor in a black studio, it's absolutely dynamite, and I can't wait to get stable enough to order my own. But yeah, so which set did you buy? Did you bring? I think it's the kata blades.
Yeah.
You got the
sharp art, I think it's called.
Okay.
Kata art.
Yeah.
Perfect for making flowers.
Yeah, absolutely. And what attachment to which torch? Does it, because it used to come with the Claris. Do you know which one it comes with now? Or is it still?
No, I bought it without a torch.
Okay. And
Yeah,
so there is a universal adapter to get to your torch?
I've taken some stuff from work. Rubber.
Awesome.
I made my own.
I love it. I love it. Is there any? I always ask every person on the episode: is there any music that calls to you to light paint? If you heard if you had a weightless, invisible earphones on and no one could see them, but only you could hear the song, what would you light paint to?
Well, I'm into electronic music, so maybe techno.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. I find that it keeps my energy up, especially when I'm doing longer composites and covering more ground because, I mean, dude, you've got to move you got to paint and focus on a high level for a minute, if not maybe 2 or 3 or more. So yeah, electronic music for me is the best. Do you have one to add to the playlist? Because I'm putting together a composite playlist of all the episodes. It's a song your favorite.
Electronic music?
Yeah, of course. Give me something that was just going to pump me up and is going to make me paint.
Yeah, I don't know, but one of my favorite songs is quite old, from Der Dritte Raum, German guy, called On the Trommelmaschine.
Awesome. I love it. So what's in the next 5 years, if we recircle back in 5 years, where are you going to be light painting? Are you going to still be in Sweden? What are you going to be doing? Have you seen 5 years in the future? Tell me where Andreas wants to be in 5 years.
I want to make more, landscape shots with light painting, because where I live, I don't have much mountains and rivers and stuff. Yeah. So I have to drive at least an hour to get some cliffs and stuff.
Yes.
But I want to be making more, with landscape too, not just the light painting.
Ah, yes. Well, you can always come visit the west coast of the USA. You always have a place. It's absolutely breathtaking and lots and lots of nature, waterfalls, mountains, forests.
Yeah, I've seen your stuff. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, some of it's been a little bit around the world though, so you have to read because I'm on the road quite a bit. I'm traveling and to doing this. Some of my recent stuff has been up in Canada in Banff, which is also, if you have any reason to go to Canada, Banff, Alberta is breathtaking. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
yeah. And when should I come visit Sweden? I always hear that June and July is the best. Is that
for sure.
okay?
And now it's yeah, mostly rain.
Is there any good music festivals, electronic music festivals that I should be checking out?
Not in Sweden, I think, but Germany has a bunch of them, and it's
Yeah,
not too far from here. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Would you ever have any reason to be in Berlin? Would you want to meet in Berlin and go meet Gunnar and those guys and do some light painting down there?
Yeah, perhaps.
They they just had a big meetup, Light Up Berlin, which there was workshops and all kinds of interesting things. And I wish I could have gone. I think I'll go next year. But
Yeah, I saw some pictures of it. Yeah.
yeah, amazing place, amazing people. You know, I can only imagine the creativity that comes from all of those creative minds and the process and learning from each other. And I really wish we had more meetups to bring the community closer together. It's hard because people can't really travel for money. You know, it's not always affordable to travel so far. But
He was there as well, Dennis from Australia. Dennis Smith.
yeah, yeah, Dennis Smith. Yeah, the
Yeah,
ball of light
he was a big inspiration as well.
in your orbs.
Yeah,
Yeah, and his backstory is quite inspirational as well. I'm really excited. I've asked him also to be on the show. We'll see if he responds. I hope he does. He's a big inspiration to me. Okay, Andreas, last question, my friend. In 5-10 years, I want to open up a Hogwarts, a university for children for light painters, small little wizards like us that can go out and make magic.
yeah.
If I were to invite you back to teach a course, what course would you teach these youthful minds, these young wizards? What would you teach them?
I think I would teach them how to visualize and sketch. So,
The planning
yeah,
part of a
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not too technical. I've just been photographing for under a year, so I don't know the technical stuff too much. But yeah, the planning and the sketching and
Yeah, I think it really shows through in your artwork. It's absolutely genius, and I think a little bit of planning you can see in your stuff just goes a really long way, man. So thank you for doing what you're doing, man. I'm so happy to have you on the show. It's so nice to have this small conversation with you. Any places that we can find your work? You're at A Henning Photos on Instagram. Any other social media or any other place we can find you?
Oh, not it's just Instagram for now. But yeah, I'm thinking about launching a website for print and stuff.
I think that would be great. I think a lot of lucky people would have your artwork on their wall. I think they would be very, very lucky to have that. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it would be great, man. We're pulling for you. All right, Andreas, thank you so much for being on the show. It's so nice to talk to you. We'll take care. See you.